How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at Scrub Games, and we've got another of our Star Wars series and a discussion video as well for it. And it's another one in our Understanding How to Build series where we go over each of the leaders from set 1, being the 16 we get in the first set, plus the 2 from the pre-release, and understanding how to build them. And for this next one, we're going over Chirrut Imwe, one of my favourite leads in the game, and a very, very nice one. And we're going to go over how to build him. And if you are looking for a list, unfortunately you'll be a lot lost there because we don't have any lists for the leaders. We're just going over to give you the tools to understand how to build it, so you can go ahead and build it yourself and understand what options are available to you. So before we get into the video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel greatly. And also if you get the notification bell, you get alerts to when videos do drop, so you can watch them there and then or at a later time that suits you, and hopefully enjoy them as well. So for this one, we're going to understand how to build Chirrut, and we're going to just go through and help you understand. So let's have a look and see. So here is Chirrut. So this is what both sides of the lead do, because in this game you have two sides of the lead, because you have it when it's in the lead area, be in the left side, and then when it deploys into to join the fight in the ground arena. So far they'll join the ground arena on the right here. So the benefit of Chirrut is not on the leader, like when it's in the lead area. It's more when it's deployed and joins the battle, because it can be a very sticky one and stick around for a while. So Chirrut is, you got the benefit of being a Vigilance and Heroic lead, so it's basically blue-white, being he's like some Vigilance blue, blue, and he's also Heroic being white. He does have an effect where you tap himself to give one of your units extra 2 health for the phase. Now that is temporarily, so if it does, it would normally die, but it is protected by that 2 health, it will then go back down to its normal stats, and if it exceeds or matches the health on the card, it will die. But a nice thing about this is both a Force and Rebel, so being in the good side, being Heroic, it gets a good benefit from all the Rebel support you can get. And from Force means it gives you an access to a lot of good Force units and Force cards, and the benefit of that is because it's very sticky. So on the front side, not so great, but when it deploys, which you can deploy as soon as 5, because it's got the epic action, where while you control 5 more resources, you can deploy this leader, so bring it out to the out to your board and bring it into the ground arena. And that's quite early. It's not the earliest, because that comes down to being the earliest one at 4 resources, but it's still quite early for 5. And it does come out early, and it sticks around because when it's deployed, it's not got the best stats. It's got some decent ones, being 3 damage and 5 health. But it's got a very nice effect where during the action phase, this unit isn't defeated by having no remaining HP. So normally when a unit during the action phase, when a unit takes damage that matches or exceeds its HP, it would normally be defeated and put in the discard. But with Chirrut, that won't happen. So if you do enough damage to it, would normally take it out. It won't die until you get to regroup phase, or if it takes more damage than itself, it won't die until the regroup. So it means until the end of the turn, when you go into draw, charge, and restand, then it will die. But during the action phase, if you don't want to take it out before it can attack, that's not going to do the job unless you use an effect that actually says defeat the unit. So if you're trying to kill it by damage, you're going to have a hard time trying to do it before it can actually do stuff. But if you do it by an effect, it can. So it can be a very sticky unit, meaning it can be stick around, so you can make use of all the cards that require a Force unit, because it is a Force and a Rebel too. So this was a really nice one, and we're going to go and have a look at the different aspect combinations. So for Chirrut, and like all the rest, you have 4 different aspect combinations. So along with the base and the leader, you can get access to it. So your leader always brings in 2 aspects, being either villainy or heroic. In this case, he brings heroic, being black or white. This one brings white. And then they have one of the color aspects that on the leader as well. So in this case, we have vigilance. So that means we start off with the leader. If we're using Chirrut, we always have access to heroic and vigilance cards, being white and blue cards. And then with our base, we can have a combination of adding, keeping with Vigilance and just having the access to the double aspect cards and Vigilance. Or we can add to our card pool either Command, Aggression, or Cunning cards spinning our base. Now, like I've explained in the other videos, you might be thinking, what is the benefit of the aspects? Because in this game, you can play any card no matter what. But the only problem is, if you try to play a card that doesn't have as an aspect, well, for each aspect on a card that doesn't match your leader and base, you have to pay an extra 2 resources to play that card. So if you say you're playing aggression, like a Chirrut with aggression base, that gives you access to heroic, vigilance, and aggression on your aspects. So then if you wanted to play, say, a command card, you don't have command on your leader or base, you have to pay an extra 2 resources along with its actual cost of the card. I mean, if it would normally cost 3, because you don't have command on your cards, you have to pay an extra 2, meaning 5 total for that card. So that's why aspect's important picking which base goes to your lead, so you have access to free aspects that allow you to play cards from those ones without the penalty. So these are different aspects. You have 4 different ways to play, and Chirrut is a very nice one where you can get a good use out of all of them, and we'll go over that in a sec. First, I want to go over ratios because it is important to understand the ratios and what is the importance of including cards that may have 3 copies of a card, 2 copies of cards, or just 1 copy of a card in your deck. There are reasons for each one. Like, for example, we've got some cards on the board with the different ratios being 3, 2, or 1. And we're going to go explain why it's best to have certain amounts of those cards. So for Jedi Lightsaber, this is a very nice one. It's an upgrade, a free cost upgrade that gives an extra free to a unit, and it's got the benefit of if you attach this to a Force unit, it gains on attack, give the defender -2/2 for its phase. And considering Chirrut is a Force unit, Chirrut can get really good use out of this because you can put on Chirrut to make him a little bit stronger, do more damage, so he lasts a lot longer, and because he's a Force unit, gets a big benefit from the on attack effect. So this is something you want to put 3 copies in because you want to see it as soon as possible. So when you deploy Chirrut, it's already his turn 4. If you're not ramping, then you get to chuck this on him and allow him to be stronger, last a lot longer, to make use of him so he stays a lot longer than most units can. So that's the example of what you want to have for 3 copies of cards. Cards you want to see early, you want to see as many as possible, as quickly as possible. 3 copies is a good use. And we got 2 copies. We got a copy of we got Luke Skywalker here as being an example of something you might want to have 2 copies. This is more of a late game unit because you can see it's very high costing when it's 7, meaning that if you draw these early turn, you're going to be dead in your hand and not able to be dropped until you get 7, which is normally turn 6 in this game for some resources because you start off with 2 at the beginning of the game. And unless you ramp, you're not going to get to it quickly. It's going to take a while to get to it. Where if you keep getting clogged up with things like this early in the game, you're going to have them stuck in your hand, not be able to use, or you might have to resource them, meaning you have to hopefully draw into another copy later in the game. So we normally have things like this at 2 copies, so that way you hopefully don't see them too often at the beginning of the game, and you start to see them at the later game when you can actually use them. So that's an example of having 2 copies of cards. And then we've got Redemption here, being an example of a 1 copy card. So these, for 1 copies of a card, you normally have them for 1 copy of a card that you have a tech in, which is a card you kind of, if you see it, it's going to be very handy. But if you don't see it, you don't really care. So it's one of those things that, you don't care if you don't see it, but if you do see it, it could be very helpful. Or it could be things that help in a certain matchup, help you game 1 in certain matchups. But then if they're not useful, you can always charge it if you see it early, or just not care if you don't see it late game. So if you want to have tech choices, things that you could think help out, but you don't want to see too many of them, or see it too often. But if you want to have it for a certain matchup, you can always put 1 copy in and have it like that. So hopefully that explains the ratios of what kind of cards you want to include a full 3 copies of, a full playset of, what cards you want to include 2 copies of, and what cards you just want to put a single copy of to have him. So we're going to start off with have a look at the different combinations to see what the benefits are of each. So start off with the double aspect one, and that is Vigilance for this. So like we've explained in the other videos, the benefit and negatives of having a double aspect, having 2 of the same aspects on your lead base combination, is that you have less of a card pool because you lose access to an extra color, but you have access to some cards that are quite powerful in the double aspects. So every aspect has 3 cards in their card pool that have double aspects, being it's double of the same aspects, like in this case 2 blue, 2 vigilance aspects. And you gain access to these, but then lose it on a second color. So you have a lower card pool, a smaller card pool, but you have some powerful cards that normally would cost you a lot more to play if you didn't have them. And Chirrut is one that kind of benefits, probably the one that benefits the most from being double blue. So for the bases, once again, you have 3 bases in each aspect, being 2 vanilla bases with 30 HP, or you have the rare one, which has less HP at 25, so 5 less HP, but it comes with epic action, being just like deploy. It is an action you can use once a game on that card. And so for this one, it's give a shield token to a non-leader unit. So you give that protection from damage to a non-leader unit. So you can either use it early to protect something that you play early from damage once, or you can use it on something you play late game to give it an extra bit of protection. It's up to you when you use it. So you can choose whether to sacrifice 5 HP to have an epic action, so an action you can use once a game, or have the extra HP and just not have that action. It's up to you which one you prefer. Now with Chirrut, you get access to these 3 cards if you go with double blue. You got Bendo, being a very late game play at 6 resources with solid stats. It comes with Sentinel to protect your base and ground units. You can even protect Chirrut from damages too. And when it attacks, it allows you to play the next non-heroic, non-villainy card a little bit cheaper at 2 less. You also have access to Protector, being a very nice one for Chirrut, because Protector gives extra 1/1 to stats, and also gives the card Sentinel, meaning that the opponent has to go through that card if they want to attack another unit in that arena or your base from that arena. So you can get kind of like divert it away from your base. And Chirrut's a quite nice one to have it, because where he's quite sticky due to its effect, he can last the whole turn protecting your base for a whole turn before it potentially goes down, if he goes down, and Protector is a very nice option for that. Yeah, sure, you can play Protector out of the double aspects, but they cost you 3 instead of 1, so you can have this a little bit cheaper, and also you have access to Vigilance. So every aspect has a double aspect event with the name of that aspect, so Vigilance for Vigilance, and they're all event cards that give you the option of using any 2 effects on the cards, only one of each, but you get the option of 2 of it out of 4. So for Vigilance, you either get to discard 6 cards from top of your opponent's deck, heal 5 damage from your base, defeat a unit with 3 or less remaining HP, or give a shield token to your unit. Now this is very, very handy. Now the first one, milling 6, is not that useful, because in this game, really milling isn't really a good alternative win condition. Like, you can mill at your opponent, but unlike other games where your opponent would lose as soon as they deck out, this one you don't lose if you deck out. You then start just taking damage to your base by 3 damage for every card you can't draw. So it starts racking up the longer you have decked out and try to draw. And you have some other options that are better on this. So heal 5 damage for a base allows you to heal your base. So if you're like getting closer to losing by taking too much damage on base, you can always heal it off. Very nice. Defeat a unit, even though it is 3 remaining HP, you can always damage units, but in more range, then take out Vigilance or take out some small things on the board, and also give a shield token. And since this doesn't, unlike the security complex, it doesn't say to a non-leader unit, it's just as a unit. You can always use that and give the shield to Chirrut, so we'll have to give him a bit of protection so he lasts longer. So these are very nice ones, and a very good way to play this play Chirrut is through double Vigilance, because you access these actual free cards, give a good benefit, especially Vigilance Protector, give a good benefit to Chirrut. So that's the double aspect. Now we're going to go on to the next one, being Command. So for Command, once again, you get access to 3 different bases. So you have either the vanilla ones or the rare one, and the rare one for Command, being green, is the Energy Conversion Lab, being one of the most overused, most OP bases, and one of the best ones with best effects. Because this epic action allows you to play a unit with that costs 6 or less from your hand and give it Ambush. Ambush being a very nice skill, allowing you to attack a unit with that unit in the same arena. So if you play a ground unit with Ambush, if your opponent has a ground unit in play in the same arena, you can attack into that straight away, whereas normally it would just come in rest, you couldn't use it. But remember, with Ambush, you can't attack bases, you can only attack other units in that arena. So Ambush allows you to come in and attack other units, take things out before they can actually do anything, or take it out before it can get an attack off and stuff like that. But do remember, you still have to pay the cost, because unless the card says you can play the card for free, you still have to pay the cost of the cards. Even if you're paying a unit at 6 or less, you still got to pay the cost of that card. You're just given Ambush, which is a very good skill. And now in the heroic side of Command, you get access to some really nice cards. You get Mon Mothma, be a nice rebel unit that allows you to look at top 5 when it's played to look for a rebel, so go get consistency. And you got Admiral Akbar, which can come out, gives Restore, meaning when it attacks, it heals 1 from your base. And also can take out things by allowing you to deal damage to a unit equal to the number of units you control in that arena. So if you want to target a space unit, you can deal damage to the number of space units you have, or ground unit, which counts itself in the ground arena. You also have access to some pretty nice ships, being like Bright Hope, being a sentinel for the space arena, allowing you to bounce back a non-friendly ground arena unit back to your hand. And if you do draw a card, you can recycle cards like bounce back Mon Mothma, so you can then play it again next turn, and also draw an extra card. And you got Home 1 being a very late game one, very solid stats at 7/7, but gives you Restore 2 on it, meaning every time it swings you heal 2, and gives everything else Restore 1, even Chirrut. And then when it's played, you can play out a heroic unit from your discard pile, and it costs 3 or less. You can either play out something that's 3 or less for free, that's heroic, or play something at reduced cost, but you're not going to be able to play something at reduced cost because you're going to be paying 8 for this unless you get really late into the game. You're not going to get anything bigger out of that. And then you have access to something that's really nice for rebels as well, being Rebel Assault, being a 1-cost event that allows you to attack with a rebel and give it +1 damage for that attack, and then straight away attack with another rebel unit, giving it also 1+ attack for that unit, for that attack. So very nice one. So being a rebel gives access to this, so you can give it to Chirrut and then another rebel unit to get 2 attacks, and being a little bit stronger as well, which is very nice, because the whole thing with heroic is you got a lot of rebel things. Rebel being the main keyword, or main trait for the heroic side, and Rebel's a very good trait in this game. Then for the non-heroic side, you got some access to some nice cards. You got like Curdle Yard, which you probably haven't seen for in this kind of section for the cards, being a nice one that allows you to heal. So it's a very cheap unit, very decent stats, and every time you play a command unit while it's on board, including himself, you get to heal 1 damage per base. So it adds you a bit more healing to survive a little longer, to basically survive longer. And you got Sorting Viper, a good space unit. That way you have the initiative, as well as having good stats. Allows you to gain Restore 2, healing 2 damage every time it attacks. So very good stats, very good effect while you're going first with the initiative. Reinforcement Walker, a very nice late game one, very solid stats, and either when played or when attack, you look at top card of your deck, you're going to draw it and gain a new card, or you're going to discard that card and gain free health to your base. So like heal free from your base and discard the card if you want to, if you feel like you don't want the card, or you just want to heal damage. And you get access to some very good events, so you get Resupply being your ramp extra event in this game. And there are 3 different ramp cards in command. Unfortunately, Chirrut only gets the best benefit of 1 being Resupply, because the other ones are Super Laser Technician, which is a villainy card, which means you get aspect penalty on that, and Command being the double aspect card for Command, which means you have to get an aspect penalty because you can only have one command aspect with Chirrut because he is inherently Vigilance, not Command. So unfortunately, Chirrut only gets Resupply as its ramp card, but then if you want to go for that, you can still include it because it's a very good card. Or Strike True. It's a nice one, being able to take out things without needing to attack, but allowing you to make a friendly unit deal damage equal to its power to an enemy unit. So you don't attack, you just go, this card's got this much health, it's going to deal that much damage. It's damage to another unit to potentially take something out. So very nice events like that. And then you've got Aggression. So if you want to go for Command that's what Command offers. Very nice, but not the best with Chirrut. Like, not as amazing as it could be with other leaders. Then we got Tarkin Town here. This is probably a very good. This is, from my testing, a very good aspect to have with Chirrut. Now for the base, the rare one you get for Tarkin Town, and already have 2 skillless ones. And Tarkin Town's one is an epic action that allows you to deal 3 damage to a damaged non-leader unit. So you can basically just finish things off that you've already damaged to take them out. Now you can get some very good units for heroic in Aggression. Like you have very good space units in Green Squadron A-Wing and Red 3, which allow you to deal more damage attacking, but when they're attacked, they don't do as much damage, but they can push a lot of damage for cheap. And with Raid 3 allowing also to give all your ever friendly heroic units, even Chirrut himself, Raid 1, meaning that it attacks stronger by 1 extra damage. And then very good ground units like K2SO and Mace Window being very strong units. K2SO being very good for its cost, being a very tricky one when it hits the board, because then when it's defeated, you can either deal 3 damage to your player's base, or make a discarded card, so a bit of hand control, or more damage to base. Meaning you have to kind of think about it if you want to kind of finish and go hard on the damage to the base, or limit their options. You also have Mace Window being the one that can help come in and just clear board by attacking, because it has ambush, very costly at 7, but very good stats. And if he defeats anything, then you get to ready him, and you can always heal him off because he's a great force unit and more force things as well. And you have access to 4 calls, I believe in. A very nice card where if you put more heroic units in Chirrut, which probably you won't want too many because there's some cards that are not heroic that you want to have for Chirrut, it allows you to fill the top 4 cards of your base. So you can have a look. For each heroic card you reveal that way, you deal 1 damage to your base, so you can kind of like burn more for this. And then you can either discard any number of cards revealed, or put the rest back in any order. So you can kind of like manage what are the top card of your deck and discard any ones that you don't want, and put back the ones in the order you want on top. And then for the non-heroic side of it, you got some very nice cards. So you got the Saber and Fang Fighter as a good space unit to kind of take off upgrades, so you can take off annoying things that your opponent has, especially things like Traitorous and Jedi Lightsaber. You got some nice units in Partisan Insurgent and Wolf. Partisan Insurgent getting strong, basically being stronger when it attacks. The more if you've got another aggression unit on, and Wolf being a good way to help stop your opponent from healing, so that way you can stop him from healing off your base, so you can try to take him out a bit quicker. Does it on when attacking or when played. And you got some very nice units. So you got Open Fire being a way to deal damage without attacking using it. And you got Force Throw being a very nice one, a very good card, probably one of my main reasons to play Aggression with Chirrut, because it needs a Force unit to get the full benefit. So there's only a 1 cost event. It allows you to choose a player and make them discard a card from hand, so it could be a hand control. And then, because if you control a Force unit, which hopefully you control Chirrut when you do, so you've got the Force unit on play, you can deal damage to a unit equal to the cost of the discarded card. So you make your opponent discard a card, and then while you control Chirrut, you get to also then deal damage to one of your opponent's units equal to the cost of the card, meaning your opponent has to either discard a cheap unit they might not want to discard, so they don't take less damage on the unit, or a big one that they don't want to lose, but to save them with cards they do want to keep, and then do a lot of damage to something. So that's the benefits of having aggression with Chirrut, and then we move on to Cunning. So Cunning is one that I haven't really tested too much, but it's an interesting one you can have with Chirrut. Doesn't get as much benefits from either like the Rebel or the Force traits, so it's one of the least popular ones you can go with Chirrut. But it does offer some nice things in Heroism, where you get like a very nice unit in space with Millennium Falcon, and a very good one with Ezra Bridger, being two very good units with the heroic trait, because they have nice things. Whereas Millennium Falcon come in like good stats, come in and attack straight away, but then you have to pay extra resources if you want to keep it on the board. But you can always put it back in the hand if it does take damage. And Ezra being able to play out more things that aren't from your hand but from the top of your deck, as long as it survives the attack, which is very nice. And then Rogue Operative being one that can avoid Sentinel to get through that because it's a Saboteur, and also gains Raid 2, so it hits for 4 damage as a free cost, which is quite nice. And you get some nice tricks in Bamboozle and Slacker Rebellion, being like Bamboozle, and when it could exhaust the unit and then bounce all the upgrades on it back to the hand. So you can kind of like take off, if your opponent like just upgrades up on one unit, you can chop it off back to the hand with Bamboozle, and you can even play this for free, but it's got another Cunning unit, so you can cheat out that way. And you got Sparkle Rebellion being a nice one for extra hand control, being allowing you to look at your opponent's hand and discard a card from it. Now this feels like a great turn 1 play, because you can play it, look at your opponent's hand, discard a card, and since both of you start off with 6 cards in Resource 2 at the start of the game, your opponent's only got 4 options. So if you've got the initiative and play this out, you can look at the hand, see what they've got, and maybe if they've got only 1 card they can play on the turn 1 as 2 cost, you can always discard that, so that way you don't play anything that turn. And while you're a card behind, they're also a card behind. With like you both lost a card, but you've prevented them from playing something that would potentially be annoying to play turn 1. So there's that. And then we've got the ones that you have that aren't heroic. So you got Crafty Smuggler being a nice unit, like a quite as small but long-lasting ground unit. There's only a 2 cost, that is 2/2, but it comes in shielded, means it's protected. And you got things like space units like Outer Rim Headhunter and Strafing Gunship. Some nice space units, and Outer Rim Headhunter can get the most benefit out of Chirrut, because where Chirrut's quite sticky, can survive quite well. You can get the benefits on attack, where while you control a leader unit, you can exhaust a non-leader unit. You can swing and tap something down, so your opponent can't make use of it, because you attack and rest it before you can use it. And it does attack for 2, but only does 1 back, because it's only got raid 1, but 1 attack. And then Strafing Gunship, once again, like I've done in every single one of these videos so far, being a very unique space unit, because usually you can only attack ground units to ground units, or space to space. But Strafing Gunship is like a very unique one, because it's the only unit that can switch between, like, attack between areas. Like, it's a space unit can attack the ground because of its effect, and also when it does attack the ground from space, you make it so the card you're attacking in the ground arena does 2 less damage back. So a very unique unit, very cool one that you can have. And you've got some interesting other non-units as well. You like Snap Shock Reflexes, allowing you to equip it to a card, give it extra +1/1 to stats, and then attack straight away with it. And even Wayland, allowing you to have like a really nice way to like bounce things back to hand and get things off board. Because if your opponent spends like say 6, 7, or 8 resources playing out a card for the turn, like taking up all the resources for the turn, and you just use 3 to bounce it back to the hand, they've wasted an entire turn to play something that then has gone back to the hand, while you've still got resources to play and do other things with. So that's one benefit to play Cunning. Probably not the best, but it's still an option. And because we're heroic, we got access to some really nice heroic units as well. And because Chirrut is a rebel, he gets better benefit than Chewbacca does regards to this, because you got a fair few units in heroic that can give you a benefit if you've got the rebel trait. You've got things like Fleet Lieutenant, allowing you to come down, giving a good cost, a free cost, giving good stats, free. And then allowing you to attack with a rebel unit straight away. And if it's a rebel unit, it gets 2 damage for that attack. Or even Wing Leader, a space unit that's not the strongest, but comes down and gives 2 experience tokens to a friendly rebel unit. So you can get the Chirrut. So you can come down, put something in the space arena, and give Chirrut an extra 2 experience tokens, meaning extra 2 stronger. Or General Dodonna, being another unit you can play down and giving other rebels a extra 1/1, being Chirrut one of them. And even Metal Ceremony being a free cost in event you can play, where you give up to 3 experience tokens up to 3 rebels that attacked. So you attack with Chirruts and 2 other rebels, you can give them all an extra experience token as like a job well done for attacking. So you get some nice ones from the heroic trait in Chirrut. And then you might be thinking, what benefits do you get from just like heroic Vigilance for Chirrut. Like, what do you get from blue-white in Chirrut? Well, you get some really nice ones for Chirrut in its own archetype, in its own aspects. So you get some really nice force units. So force units are very, like, you get some good force cards from blue-white in this game, and Chirrut gets very good use of it because it's a force unit that could survive and stick around. You get Guardian of Wills being a good one that benefits from the many upgrades you can put in the deck, and is also a force unit too. Solid stats at 2/2/2, like Crafted Smuggler, but benefit of being able to make the first upgrade you attach to it 1 cost less for the turn, or for that 1 cost less for that first one. You also got Obi-Wan being a very nice Sentinel unit that is quite expensive at 6, but can come down and then provide Sentinel to protect Chirrut from damage in your base. And then if you do have Chirrut out, when it is defeated, you can give an experience token to 2 experience tokens to one of your friendly units, which you can give it to Chirrut. And if the unit you give it to is a force unit, which Chirrut is, you draw a card. So you can have that protection. Then when it dies, boost up Chirrut and give it, and also draw a card. Then you have these 3 really nice non-unit force cards. So you've got Jedi, which you've always seen, which can attach to a unit and give it an extra 3/3. And if that unit's a force unit, which Chirrut is, which you mainly want to give it to, when he attacks a unit, that defender gains -2/2 to its stats. I mean, it does 2 less damage, has 2 less health to make you can take out things easier. You have bind all things as well. It's a nice way to kind of like keep Chirrut sticking around, where you can heal up the 3 damage from units, so heal 3 damage from Chirrut, so it survives the turn. And then, because he's a force unit, if you control a force unit, which Chirrut is, you can deal that much damage to another unit instead, well, as well. So you can heal 3 damage from Chirrut and then deal that damage somewhere else on your opponent's board, which is very handy. So finish things off, take things off the board by killing them before they can even do anything. And then you got the Forces with Me being like a signature card for Chirrut, because it's a 4 cost, but it allows you to choose a friendly unit and give it 2 experience tokens, so boost it up by 2/2. And if you control a force unit, which normally using this on Chirrut or a force unit you have, you can give a shield token to it and then you can attack with it. So while Chirrut's on the board, you can use this on him, give it an extra 2 to his stats, so he's stronger, making him go from his base of 3/5 to 5/7. Give him a shield token so he's got that protection on, and then attack straight away with him, either at base or another unit, and then a shield token to defend him if he's attacking a unit. So very good ones there, and you've got some other good units that you can also have as well. Like, you've got Distant Patroller being a nice space unit when defeated. If you've got Chirrut in play, you can get that a shield to Chirrut. Very good. Guardian of Wills, like we've already seen. You've got Renegade Survivors as well, which is a very nice unit. Cost it 5, decent stats, 3/5. Has grits, and the more damage it takes, the the stronger it gets. And then you've got is really nice on attack, which gets a really good benefit from Chirrut, where on attack, if you control a leader unit, you can draw a card. So where Chirrut's quite sticky and can stay around quite well, you can get the benefit of Rugged Survivors to keep drawing every time it swings while you got Chirrut out. And then you've also got Electro Staff being another really nice upgrade you can put, and another benefit to have Guardian Wills with, where you can put onto a unit, give it 2/2 to its stats, and then make it so when it is attacked, the attacker does 1 less damage to you. I mean, you can put on Chirrut to kind of survive more damage, take more damage, make him stronger, and so he survives a lot longer, so you can get the benefit of things like Rugged Survivors, things like that. Then you have Luke, a very nice late game one, allow you to like kind of finish things off and just put in, give you resource free, kind of help deal with things on the board, make things a lot weaker, and just have a stronger late game. So that is all the kind of things you can benefit from Chirrut. So hopefully that's helped you understand how Chirrut functions, what the best things are to do to help it, and kind of all the options you get from each of different base combinations. So hopefully when it comes to building Chirrut, you kind of have more of an understanding and can help out. So that is it from me today. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll have the next one being understanding how to build Luke Skywalker as the next one. And after that, we'll then move on to the next aspect being command after Luke. So hopefully this has helped you understand how to build Chirrut, and hopefully you liked and enjoyed it. And I'll catch you next one, understanding how to build Luke. Bye for now.